We have a interaction. Um, you just come, right, walking. So can we sit for 2 minutes quietly, closed or open eyes, it doesn't matter, but say nothing. No gossip. Okay, so why I wanted to do this was, it's only when you exert yourself or when you stress yourself a bit or when you have troubles in the world that cause you a lot of pressure, also walking, exercising, it's only when you are really stressed a little bit that you realize the greatness of not being stressed. Because if you were always awake, you would not understand the value of sleep. And the other way around, if you are always sleeping, you will not understand the value of waking up. So these are both two sides of the same thing. When you do yoga asanas, what do? You stretch your muscles, right? And then at the end of the yoga asanas, what do we do? Shavasana, dead body posture. What happens in dead body posture? You stop all exercise, everything is over and you're resting. Then you realize what is rest. And even when you are really in trouble and then suddenly the trouble moves out, then you see, yes, it's not as if that rest was not there in me, it was already there, but because of the complication and the stress and the confusion, I didn't touch it. But when it moved out, then I relaxed and therefore I felt it. Take the case of the great Gautama the Buddha. And one time he joined the Shravakas, the Shravanas. The Shravakas are Jain monks, very strict. No food for many days, no water for many days, starving almost. And then a lady gave him, who caused the mischief, she gave him a little food to eat. So, after many days of fasting, after many days of hunger and thirst, he had a little bit of food. When he had the little bit of food, he went and sat under the bow tree. And when his mind and the body was settled, then he became the Buddha. So, consider all the problems and sorrows and pains of this world as actually there to take us to that which is beyond. You cannot run away from it. It's It's not possible. You try hard, you cannot run away. You can move a little bit here and there, but you cannot escape, because the world situation does not depend on us. It has its own situation. We have to adapt, we have to change. So if you see everything as actually a lesson towards that, then one day we realize that when it all settles down, then there is peace. So therefore, in the beginning of one's spiritual progress, it's a very good idea to be in solitude for some time. Why in solitude? When I say solitude, it's not as if you should sit inside a cave, away from the people you know, away from the world that you know, so that you are left by yourself to see what's coming out of your mind. You know, when you are in this world doing various things, you don't realize what is inside. When you are alone, then many thoughts come into your mind which you will not see when you are engaged in this world. So sometimes, especially in the beginning of your spiritual journey, it's a very good idea to have some solitude once in a while. Say if you are working the whole year, take off for a week or 10 days to a place where, first of all, where people don't know you. You know, the moment you go to a place, if I go to a place in India, oh, this is finished, it's over. But suppose I come to, oh, here also some people know me. Suppose I go to some quiet place in Switzerland and sit down. Nobody knows me. Nobody will say, don't walk, get into the car. Nobody. So, so in that I am free. You see, it may be physical freedom, but still physical freedom is also important for the mind freedom. So sometimes I am saying that we should take some time into solitude. When I say solitude, please understand, it does not mean staying alone in a place where you don't get food to eat. Then you can never have solitude, because half your mind will be thinking of the food. What I mean is a quiet place where you can have your normal simple things like food and drink and a place to lie down and sleep. Enough. If you can do that. Now the question is, when I say solitude, should a married couple go to solitude together or separate? I don't know, that's for you to decide. If you can together still be in solitude, great. If you want to separate, it's up to you. But then both persons should understand that we are not against each other, but we want some solitude. Right? So it's not a bad idea to have some solitude. Now what happens in solitude? What is this? What happens first is you don't hear many external sounds. You know, when you live in a city, what happens? The bus is going, there are cars going, you have to go to office, you're thinking when to go. I meditate 15 minutes and then I have to go. But you take off for 6 days or 7 days or I don't know what you can afford, 10 days, and you go off like she went to India and stayed for some time. Go away from anybody, stay alone. Then what happens? We come face to face with ourselves, because there is nobody else to disturb. We are face to face with ourselves, and I think it's very important to look at what happened.
He just hit a post.
So it's maybe he was looking here. So it's very important to understand this, that in solitude, when I mean solitude, I mean that you are alone and you have enough things to not disturb you, and where you can sit for long hours and do nothing. Do nothing is important. Even if I say I am going to do japa, I am going to do meditation, you are still doing something. Can I do nothing? Absolutely nothing. Like sit here and look at the lake. You know, sometimes it works. You know why we feel the mind settling down and becoming quiet when you go to the mountains, or when you go to the lake, or when you go to the sea or the rivers? You know why? Because it's not man-made. It's not man-made. No, nobody knows who made the mountains. Well, because we don't know, we say, oh, God made the mountains. We don't know who made the mountains. We don't know who made the rivers and the sea, and we don't know. So therefore, it is pure nature, and there are no bricks, there is no concrete, nothing is used. So what happens? Your mind, our minds, also becomes one with that nature, because there is nothing artificial there. Nothing that is produced by the mind. Nothing that is produced by the human mind. It's free. So the closer you go to the sea and under the tree and away from all these man-made things, your mind also settles down and becomes free. Not that if you keep, I must tell you, you have heard of, and many people must have heard of Swami Vivekananda. I don't know him. He was a great monk who probably was the first man to come to the West and talk about yoga and meditation, Swami Vivekananda. So when he was wandering in the Himalayas, one of his brother disciples, he used to write from everywhere a letter. So one of his brother disciples wrote to him saying, brother, now you must be very happy sitting in Almora in the Himalayas and meditating 24 hours. How nice. He writes back saying, half the time is spent in thinking when my next bread is going to come from. You know, so even if a great person like that this can happen, we should assure ourselves that there is something you can eat and drink and rest. There should be a place. Otherwise you are meditating, it rains, what do we do? Incidentally, it might rain now when we go for lunch. So this silence is very important. And once you are established in that silence, no noise is going to disturb. Then it becomes that silence is not the absence of sound. See, here also you hear sounds, but there is a silence. So silence is not an absence of sound. You can be in a complete solitary place with no sound whatsoever, but as long as your mind is active, there is no silence. Have you noticed this? We are talking to each other, or we are talking to ourselves. As long as this chatter of the mind does not stop, we can't remember when it started. Maybe from childhood, maybe from the time we were hungry for milk, mother's milk. We don't know where this chattering started, but it goes on and on and on till we die. Then you rest in peace, R.I.P. Till then, the mind is chattering. So is there a way to just not chatter? Otherwise there is no solitude. You may go away to a quiet place, but the mind is still chattering. Right? So is it possible that in the early stages you sit in solitude, try to quieten your mind, and then as you become really expert at this, when you say this chattering is the main problem, nothing else. And why does the mind chatter? Because it's always asking for something, or it is running away from something. These are the two major factors. Either it is attached to something, or it is what do you call the opposite of attach?
Repelled by something.
Repelled by something. If these two factors are there, the chattering will never stop. So can we try to be without too much attachment and too much repulse? If these two things are there, there cannot be quietness of mind. So when you sit in solitude, quietly, open eyes or close. For some people, they can't meditate with closed eyes. The moment they close their eyes, the mind will start. Open your eyes, then look, and for some time do nothing. Don't think, oh, that's a nice pine tree, I can build a roof. Then profit, desire, everything comes into the picture. Can I sit just like that, doing nothing whatsoever? Then a silence slowly comes in. Don't be in a hurry. And when that silence comes, that silence remains with you even in the marketplace. You can then after this sit in the marketplace and be absolutely silent with all the noise that is going around, because your mind has stopped chattering. That's the joy. problem. It's not the bus that is the problem, or the helicopter, or the plane. It's your mind, which is not my mind, our mind, which has not stopped chattering. So can we think that there may be a part of the mind which is not chattering? Give it a thought when you sit quiet. Can I sit and not say, oh, not this, yes, this, not this, yes, this, without the two opposites? We think it's possible. In the depths of your heart, there is a silence. You can sometimes come upon it when you look suddenly at the lake or at the mountain. The problem why we don't come upon it, I think, is because we compare and judge. We compare and we judge. Suppose I'm standing on the terrace of my house and I suddenly see the full moon. Great. For some time everything is frozen. There is no chattering, there is nothing. I'm looking at the moon. Suddenly. Then what happens? Then comes the chattering mind and says, in 1900 and some of you won't remember 1958, I saw another moon which was like a crescent and it was peeping up. Yeah, okay. So this moon is gone. The moon that is in front of me is completely gone, and therefore the chattering starts. Then I compare. Then the other day there was this moon, and that's the day when my wife threw a spoon at me. You know how the mind works. No, my wife didn't throw a spoon. I'm just joking. So this comparison, if we can look, if I look at somebody and say, look, she's good. I don't compare. I don't say, oh, somebody's like this, somebody's like that. Then I see the goodness. The moment I compare, I'm in trouble. So can we look at things without comparing? Without saying, oh, he's better, she's better, I'm so bad, or I am so superior, that person is so bad. Can we do that? Because we all are part of this mind. If we stop this, then the mind has no way but to stop chattering. No, you cannot quieten the mind, because when I say I want to quieten my mind is becoming stronger. I have to do it. Suppose I let go and say, okay, go travel, come back when you want. I hope. So having said this much, I want if you have any questions, not only on this subject, but even on others, something connected to this. Don't ask me why I didn't walk, but apart from that, because that will really make my mind chatter. So, so if you have any questions regarding also Kriya or meditation or anything in general, or something in your life which seems to have a connection with what I am saying, please openly ask the question.
Why is the nature of the mind to chatter? Why are we all not established in silence and rather mind coming in only when used like other muscles?
Why is the nature of the mind to chatter? I don't know the why, but it chatters. So, you see, sometimes we ask to find out why because we don't want to face the fact that something is happening. So, I don't know why, you don't know why. Somebody might give you something from a book saying this is why the mind started chattering, but it is book, it's idea. Actually nobody knows why it chatters. However, we know that it does. And since we know that it does, can we get out of it? I cannot get out of it actually, because I am chattering. Do you note this? I, who is also part of the chattering, how can I get out of it? I cannot. So when I say I cannot, then what happens? Suppose I am the reason for sitting here and I say I want to go out, but I know I can't go out, then what happens? I sit here. When I sit here, then there is no chattering. Even when I say the mind is chattering, I want to stop it, the chattering is increasing because I want to stop it. So there are two people here. One, something who is chattering, and somebody who is trying to stop the chatter. Actually there is only one thing which is the chatter, which is my mind. I don't know whether you're getting what I'm trying to say. See, what happens is we are accustomed to split our minds into two. We say, I am very pure, one part of the mind. Of course, without thought you cannot say that, right? So one part of my mind, I am very poor. Sorry, very poor is good. I am very pure and there is this me, this part of me, again thought, mind, which is very bad. Now I have to control it. I have to escape. It is the same mind. We are making the division and saying this is bad because it is angry, it is jealous, and I am something very pure. I don't know. I mean this. So we are splitting the mind, and a splitting of any kind is conflict. Any kind. So can we say it's all one? There is no escape, and sit quiet. The moment you look for escapes, you're chattering again. I don't know whether we have followed. See, it's sometimes very difficult to, not because we have many ideas, it's a little complicated. Otherwise, it's very simple. Look, like I said the other day, are there two minds in us or only one? And what is it made of? Thought. So one part of it is saying I have to be thoughtless. The other part is always thinking. Actually, the thinking one is the same thing which is thoughtless. There is no difference. If you split the difference and see only one, that is called Advaita. Not saying and the Brahman only and the world is an illusion. That's rubbish. It's not an illusion. How long can you stay without eating? This is an illusion. It's this split that is the illusion. Otherwise, then if you hit upon that silence, I don't know how. If I say how, then it becomes a method. I don't know there is any method to that. Understanding is more important. Suppose I find that, then it's there everywhere. It's here, it is here, it is here. When you sit down on the grass, actually I'm not doing the right thing because the grass is crying. Believe me. Not that it cries like a baby, you can't hear it. But it is, because we are sitting on, we are pressing it, right? We can't help it, that's a different matter. So we are not saints. We also have problems. So when we understand these things, then everything becomes living and one. There is no difference. Why? Because there is one mind, and from which thoughts come like waves in the ocean. If the waves become still, there is only the ocean. Some construction is going on. So we cannot in this world live in solitude. It's not possible. Short terms you can go, but you cannot, because see, anywhere. I must tell you this story of a young man. When I was wandering in Rishikesh, this is the last story. I know we are hungry. I can say because I came in the car, you walked. There was this young man. Oh, now I forgot. In Rishikesh? So YouTube. There was this young man in Rishikesh when I was very young and I was walking around near the Ganga, near the Ganges river. He came to me and said, I'm fed up of this Rishikesh. I said, hey, what happened? In those days Rishikesh was not so bad as it is now. Even then, he said, there are too many ashrams. Oh, I said, then why did you come here? So there are too many ashrams. People are making too much racket here. Business has started. I said, okay, cool down. So what do you want? Why are you staying here? He said. I said, look, I don't have to explain to you why I am staying here. What is your problem? I want to go in solitude. I said, okay. Where are you going? He said, I heard there is a cave in Lakshman Jhula close by. I am going there. I said, you really? Yeah, I am going there. You cannot stop me. I said, I didn't want to stop you. You go. So he went off. And then on the third of Ganges, and this guy is back. I said, hey, what happened? Oh, no, can't go there, can't sit there. Why? Because I went there and for 3 days without food, I meditated in the cave. I said, that's great, you wanted your solitude, you got it. And then I opened my eyes and I thought there was an extraterrestrial standing before me, E.T. It appeared he had come from another planet because he had a helmet and there was a tube and all that, and he stood before me. So I said, at last I have got a glimpse of something. I do this in the retreats in Dubai because sometimes when you're about to speak, you hear, oh, so stop. And then move it after it's over. It's nice. If somebody has a good musical voice, it's beautiful. Sometimes it's like a slaughterhouse, but anyway. So, so he said he saw this vision. He thought it was a vision. There was a man from outer space. And then this man said to him, he thought he was going to bless him. Said to him, get out of here. He said, what? He said, I've come to spray for mosquitoes from the municipality. It's difficult to find solitude even in Rishikesh now. So, where will we find the solitude? In my own home, where I have a small room with an open window where I can sit in solitude. Nobody will disturb me. Nobody is going to say, get out of your room. Nobody will say, I want to spray for mosquitoes. It's your own place. That is great solitude. So, the other is understand how to develop solitude inside, which means at some time stop chattering. Do nothing. Don't even say, I'm going to attain the Brahman. Sit quietly. Anybody else? Or shall we go?
There's one question related to the same thing. When you
Everybody okay? We'll wait.
just as you get into this and you start practicing this, does your mind retaliate a little bit?
Yes.
Does it go full on with more thoughts than you ever experienced?
You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. When you start moving away from the weather-beaten track and say, I am finding a new path, then the mind gets very frightened. I think I am going to die. The mind. So it will offer you various kinds of distractions, and from inside you all the poison that was there will come out. But that's the time when we have to be patient. It's okay, I know what's happening, let it go.
See, that was my question yesterday. That's maybe I asked it the wrong way.
Yeah. So like in ancient India we have this story of the churning of the ocean. Apparently this is mythology, but the devas, who are the good ones, and the asuras, who are the bad ones, you will see them in pictures and sculptures. The asuras have big mustaches and the devas are clean shaven, good people. Anyway, so both of them decided to churn the ocean, the primeval ocean, the ocean of milk or whatever. So they found out a snake which is called Vasuki, the snake that guards the god Vishnu, and they used that as the rope. And they found the Mount Meru, which is actually the North Pole, and put it in the middle, put Vasuki around. One end was caught by the devas and the other end of the snake, poor snake, by the asuras, and they churned the ocean. When they churned the ocean, they wanted to get nectar. That's why they were churning nectar. But when they churned the ocean, oh God, this is called solitude. Can I call you later? We are having a satsang. Okay, bye. All right. Wife. So, the wife. So, what did I say? I forgot, because she called. So they did this, and they expected the nectar to come out, but the first thing that came out was poison. Terrible poison. It's called hala hala visha. You might have seen when you go to Shiva temples, Shiva is also called Nilkant, which means one whose throat is blue. It's a symbol, of course, which means when the poison came out and Shiva thought it's going to spread into the world, he's supposed to have swallowed it. And when it was going down, his wife thought, now my Shiva is going to die, so she held her throat like, and so it became blue. Yeah. I mean, this is a story. What I'm trying to say is, when the ocean was churned, the first thing that came out was poison. In the same way, when you start churning your mind, probably, unless you are a great soul for many lives, the first thing that comes out is poison. All the things that you did not know existed will come out, because you need to get them out and throw them away. You can't subjugate them. They have to come out and go. It's like heating water. First there are bubbles, sound, sound, and then what happens? It becomes vapor. In the same way, it happens. So that's when you should not get discouraged. You shouldn't say, oh, I'm such a dirty fellow, all these thoughts. No, you should say, something is coming out of my mind. It can't come from anywhere else, right? So hold it there and see how it goes. Allow it. The Tibetans have a practice called meditation on the what is it called? No, some drastic like, there are two kinds of deities in the Mahayana. One is the peaceful ones, and the other? No, there's some word for that. That's a Tibetan word. The opposite of calm and quiet. What do you? Not
Violent.
wrathful. Who said wrathful?
That's what I said.
Okay. Right. So they have a practice called meditation on the wrathful deities. Let me tell you what they do. They visualize, when they visualize, first they visualize their own body. And then that body is visualized as going into the void, becoming nothing. And in its place comes the wrathful deity. Have you seen those wrathful deities? They are terrible looking fellows with their... So they imagine that now I have become the wrathful deity. All the wrath that is in me then comes out. Of course, the door is shut, so I tear pillows, I throw everything, I became very wrathful. And then slowly the wrath goes off. So instead of doing it to somebody else, I am doing it myself alone in this wrathful deity meditation. So what happens? Much of the poison is off. And then don't forget to take away the wrathful deity. The wrathful deity goes into the void, and then my shape is back. This is important at the end. So nothing to worry if these things, this happened to everybody, even it happened to me. Please, I didn't fall from heaven. Work hard, harder. Madam Annette, can we go for lunch? Oh, there's one more, sorry. I thought people might be hungry.
In the beginning you said that the whole problem is with the mind.
Yes.
It is the mind,
Yes.
split mind.
Yes.
The split,
All minds.
Yes. Then now this split mind, is it not this ever-present subtle self-consciousness, this idea of this I know?
That is your idea of it, right? So it is still in the mind.
Yeah. But how to get rid of it?
How to?
Get rid.
You cannot get rid. You have to accept it first. With the feeling that it must not be there, but I have to see it first.
Yeah.
The problem is very fast we try to get rid of it, which is as good as sweeping the dust under the carpet and hiding it. You should see it fully. When you see it fully, it is gone. You are doing nothing about it.
But even if you see it,
You are not seeing it. That is the problem.
But even if we look while we are
You cannot, you're not looking properly. You're looking with the idea that there is one consciousness which is to get rid of all these thoughts. See it as it is.